Behind me are 44 units that Graham, Stephan, and I are buying in Phoenix, Arizona. If you haven't heard, Graham and I started a brand new fund called Creator Properties. Now you might be wondering, why did I start another fund if I already have Pineda Capital, where we've bought over 460 units? Well, there was a ton of deals just like this that I was turning down that didn't fit Pineda Capital's model. At Pineda Capital, we're looking for beat up properties that aren't stabilized, that need a lot of work. And with those kinds of properties, they have a really high reward, but they also have more risk. On the other hand, you have properties like this, which are already stabilized, almost fully occupied, and in fact, already renovated. And the beauty is there's so many ways to add value to even a property like this, which I'm gonna tell you about here in this video. So instead of me talking about it, let's go look at it. So the way that we found this deal was from one of my students in Future Flipper. His name's Christian Bergman. He's bought other apartments here in Phoenix before, which I'll tell you about. And he's a really cool dude who's done a lot of great things for Future Flipper and bringing the multifamily space even further. And also a fun fact, him and I played against each other playing baseball. We played against each other in college, in the minor leagues, but he was actually a lot better than me because he got to the big leagues, and apparently he struck me out a bunch, but who knows? What's up, dude?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Dude, this
Welcome.
place looks good.
Yeah, something we found through a broker relationship. That's one of the most important things in multifamily is forming good relationships with brokers who more or less control the market. And that's how we got this deal actually before it came on the market.
Yeah, and so this broker brought you your first deal out here. How long ago was that? About a year ago?
About a year ago, yep, almost a year exactly.
And tell me about that deal.
Yeah, so that deal is actually very similar to this one, 46 units in Mesa, which is about a half hour from here. I'd say this area is much better just in terms of location to Scottsdale, downtown Phoenix, stuff like that. So they're very similar in terms of unit sizes and number of units, the year it was built, stuff like that. So immediately this deal jumped out. But that other deal, we underwrote that our rents would get to $1,250 within a year. And actually within a year, as of today, we're at about $1,325 on average across the board. So that extra rent that we're getting has added millions of dollars of value to the property today.
Yeah, and that's just in 1 year.
In 1 year
of holding that property.
We're looking at that property is probably worth 30-40% more than what we paid for it in 1 year.
That's crazy. And you were projecting that out over 5 years to
exactly.
Get the return you were looking for. And so to see year one already doing that, it's pretty crazy. So this property, I mean, I'm looking at it, right? Like the front yard was super nicely landscaped. Like all of this is nicely landscaped. I like this kids area. The exterior looks great. I mean, the signs out front all just say newly renovated. So like, why is this a deal? Because in my opinion, as a house flipper, right, it's pretty rare to get houses that are in perfect condition that we flip and make money on. I mean, we do it, it's not uncommon, but it's much more, I would say, easy to find good deals that are beat up in bad condition, unstabilized and all that.
Right. A couple of reasons for that. One is, with multifamily, it's not based on necessarily how much money you put into it. The value is based on how much money the property is producing. So the fact is that when most of these leases were signed, that was, close to a year ago.
Yeah.
Rents, as everybody has seen, have advanced significantly since then.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of what we call loss to lease.
Okay.
Meaning that the rents are below market.
Okay.
So as soon as we bring those rents to market, we increase the value that way. We don't necessarily have to spend money to add value to the deal.
Right. So once those leases expire, raise rents. Like, what are the rents at today in this area?
On average at this property, we're at about $1,340.
Okay.
Market rent, I think that comes in around $1.45 a square foot. Market rent right now is getting close to $2. So we have support right now at $2 a square foot.
Wow. And how big are these units on average?
On average about $885, something like that, between $850 and $900.
You're talking about like $1,700 to $1,800 rent here.
Yep.
So obviously this area is much more in demand than the other property you're talking about.
Right.
But if it's renting for the same price as the other property right now, and we can raise rents, $400, like that's easily a huge value add, and we don't even have to do anything to the exterior.
Exactly, and the interiors as well. So that's one of the things that one of the challenges we're running into right now is with supply chain issues, labor issues, like renovating the inside of units. It's not always easy, and it takes time to do that.
Right.
We don't have to wait to do that at this property.
Yeah, let's go see one of these interior units because I've heard they're super nice.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, these look really good. Reminds me of my flips.
Yeah, it's actually, the other property we're talking about in Mesa, we're doing the exact same finishes that are already in here.
Oh, it looks great. I mean, you've got the gray walls, you've got this gray laminate, or it might be LVT, I can't tell. Looks good.
Big one that's nice is the bigger baseboards.
Yep.
Simple thing to do that makes the inside look a lot better.
I noticed this is a 2-bedroom. How many of these are 2-bedroom in here?
All of them.
Everything's a 2-bedroom.
Yeah,
oh, that's really attractive.
It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and one of the things that I noticed was a lot of the rental comps in the area are 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom.
Yeah.
So if you're a family with kids, you don't want to share that bathroom.
No.
So immediately, that gives us a leg up.
Well, and the thing too that I like is if you live here, it's more of a premium apartment because you're not with, all these single bedrooms, right. 1 bath, everyone in here is a 2-2, paying pretty much the same rent.
Yep.
So I think you're going to get a higher quality tenant as well.
Absolutely.
So, I'm guessing pretty much all of the kitchens kind of look like this.
Yep.
Pretty renovated. I mean, obviously not top of the line stuff like we would do in flips, but
right.
Totally good enough for an apartment and, it looks great. Tell me about this. So washer and dryer in the kitchen.
Yeah.
On those comps, I know that a bunch of apartments, like some of the ones we own, they don't have washer and dryer.
Yeah.
Do all the units have this?
All the units already have washer dryers in them, and that's something the previous owners did for us, and I can tell you from experience,
it's
not easy to do that in an apartment complex because we're doing it in one of our other deals right now, so huge already having them in. And one of our rental comps up the street, they have very similar units, similar finishes, stuff like that, do not have washer dryers in the units.
Yeah.
They have to go to a laundry room.
And how much are they paying? How much are they paying in rent?
They're at that $2 square foot level.
And they're not as good.
Washers. Right, exactly.
Wow, that's crazy. So kitchens, some have new cabinets, some are painted, but they're all renovated in some kind of way. Bathroom, looks good. So this one we're gonna try and rent for, how much do you think we'll list it for?
We'll probably list it at about $1,700.
Yeah.
And then we're also charging back for utilities they are individually metered for electric.
Okay.
But water, sewer, trash, stuff like that, we are charging back for that.
Okay. I like that it promotes the family environment out there with the play set.
Yeah, that was one of the things we were looking at. Is there something better we could do with the play equipment out there? And by walking the units and stuff, we saw lots of families with kids.
Yeah.
And we think that's probably the best use of that space is just to leave it.
Yeah.
Because it gets a lot of use.
Yeah, just walking around here, filming. I've definitely seen a lot of kids and some families and stuff.
Yeah.
So the interiors look great. I mean, obviously the main way we're gonna raise value is through raising the rents, but what are some other things we're gonna do?
Yeah, we're also looking at adding covered parking around the exterior.
Okay.
We can do that at a cost of about $1,750 per space.
Okay.
So if we add 40 to 50 spaces, costs between 80, 90 grand, somewhere around there. And when we charge back for that, we can probably charge 40 to 50 bucks per month per space.
Okay.
And that translates into an additional NOI of somewhere between 20 to 24,000.
Right.
So when you look at what that's actually worth, you apply the cap rate that we're assuming we're going to exit at, which is between 4.25 and 4.5.
Right.
That equates to over $500,000 in value.
Yeah, I think just looking at this parking lot, I would pay 50 bucks to have a covered spot, especially if all the spots were covered for the most part. You kind of wouldn't have a choice.
Right.
But that's crazy to think that this could cost us $90,000 and it'll pay itself off in say 4 to 5 years. But in terms of the actual value created, based on how apartments work, you use net operating income. So by creating this $20,000 premium, it adds $500,000 to the actual value of the property.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's, when you think about it, it's a one-time expense to spend 90 grand. And then it can, like you said, it continues to produce income.
And that kind of add-on will last a long time.
Right.
It's not like paint and stuff that has to go every time you turn a unit. I don't know what the lifespan is on covered parking, but it's got to be a really long time.
Yeah, And one of the things that we try to do is also add value to the tenants as well, and make their experience at the property better. So we want to invest in the property.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that they told us, again, when we were walking units. I try to talk to the tenants and see what they want.
Yeah.
That was something a lot of them said, is we need some kind of covered parking and assigned parking, because
everybody's just parking wherever.
It's just kind of random, and some people have 4 cars, and that's not fair to people who don't have space to park.
Yeah, because they have 5 cars out here.
Right.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. And I mean, dude, when you think about it, right, like we have a gate right there to get in this property. Everything is well manicured already. If we just do things like add covered parking and, just spice it up a little more, like, this is a really good experience for tenants.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something we focus on, because we want our tenants to be happy, and honestly, we want them to stay, because obviously vacancy costs money, and we want them to stay. That's our goal.
So tell me about the deal. Like, what are we buying this thing for? What's the plan?
Yeah, so we're buying it for $13.2 million,
okay,
which comes out to about $300,000 per door. And then we've got about $300,000 of capex to invest into the property. But again, the main
that's just the the parking structure, everything else. That's very low.
And we budget for doing minor stuff in the interiors.
Yeah. So we're all in at, say, $13,500,000. We raise the rents, we get these parking spots and all this stuff. I mean, what's the building going to be worth at that point once we do all that?
Yeah, so at today's cap rates, it would probably be worth somewhere between 18 and 19 million. And I should say, we've actually underwritten for some expansion in cap rates, meaning, if interest rates continue to climb and stuff like that, we have to be conservative and underwrite that, things may start to level off.
Yeah.
But personally, I don't think that that's going to happen to the effect that a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah.
So if values remain the same, there's probably more upside above that 18 to 19 million dollar number.
100%. Like, so that 18 to 19 is already factoring in that could happen. Like,
Exactly.
that's just our conservative estimate.
Exactly.
So on top of that, there's also the cost segregation we're doing. Explain like what you've heard about that.
So for those of you who don't know, a cost seg study is basically when you break the building down into its parts, like drywall, paint, carpet, stuff like that, and they all depreciate at different schedules. Normally, you just depreciate a building by 27.5 years, because that's what the IRS says you can do. But when you do this, you get a bigger number as a depreciation amount.
Yeah.
And then, on top of that, you get to bonus depreciate at 100% in year 1.
Right.
So the end result is you get this big amount of depreciation year 1. So preliminarily, we're looking at about 30% of the equity is what we'll get back as depreciation year 1.
Yeah, so if somebody invested $100,000 in this deal, they would get a $30,000, depreciation write-off.
Exactly.
Yeah. So cost segs are really important. We are pretty much doing them on the majority of our properties, because not only are we trying to get really good deals that are going to make money, and cash flow and be worth a lot more than, what we buy them for, but also we want to get tax benefits today, so we're not paying so much in taxes. So if anyone wants to invest in this deal with Christian, myself, and Graham, you can go to creatorproperties.com and submit a request. You must be an accredited investor to get in on this deal, but I actually want to talk about one other thing, because when I do these videos, a lot of people always say, Ryan, that's great, it's only for rich people that you can help them, but that's actually not true. Christian runs our multifamily call at Future Flipper, and we've talked about all the ways that you can actually make money in multifamily. You don't have to be the one investing $100,000 in this building, right? You can be the person who's finding the deal, right? Yeah. You can be the person who's helping stabilize the property. You can be the person investing in it, like we're talking about. Like, there's a lot of ways to make money. So don't think that by watching this video and it only being open to accredited investors right now that it doesn't apply. Like, you could find this building and then bring it to a guy like Christian, bringing it to a guy like me, and get a piece of the pie, even though you don't have the money to necessarily invest in it. So I don't like when people comment that, and so I wanted to address it, because you can do this, okay? And I just want to make that super clear.
Yeah, and to just kind of go off of that, we have multiple other investors in the All-Star group that have actually brought me multifamily deals, and they bring them to me and they don't know how to underwrite them, don't know how to make sense of them. I literally sit down with them, I help them underwrite the deal, And we all partner together. They brought the deal, I help underwrite it.
Yep.
And so we're doing a deal like that in St. Louis.
Yep. So let it just be known that you can do multifamily. I just want to reiterate that. But like I said too, if you do want to invest in this deal, go to creatorproperties.com. And if you want to reach out to Christian or myself with deals, we'll link to all of our information down below. But anyways, dude, I appreciate you getting us in on this deal. It's going to be
Glad to have you,
exciting.
man.
And I appreciate all you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe. I'll see you later.